All right. Did we sound check? Everybody's good? You guys are good? You good? Okay. Good morning. My name is Rod Phillips. I am the MPP for Ajax, and I'm here today with Mayor Parrish, Bob Broadstock, and Justin Peakove for a very exciting announcement. Off the top, just before we get to the meat of this, I do want to take a moment to thank Mayor Parrish for his 23 years of service. I said 22 once and got corrected. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of opportunities to celebrate the mayor's contributions to Ajax, which are many, but I do look forward to those. Specifically today, and in reference to this announcement, I do want to make the point that he has been a tireless advocate for this facility, for Ajax Downs, and of course for Ajax. Our council, led by Mayor Parrish, were loud and clear that Ajax Downs was a vital part of our community and needed to be saved. And I'm very pleased that so many of them are here today. I'm very pleased that the mayor is here today, and I'm very pleased to tell them that their message was heard. Now, Ajax Downs, as I mentioned, has been a pillar in our community. Next year is the 50th anniversary, and it has been under the vision and leadership of the Peakove family, and I'll introduce Justin later. It's not just the heart of quarter horse racing in Durham region, but it's also the heart of quarter horse racing across Ontario. Beyond the excitement of quarter horse racing, which if you haven't had a chance to see it, I'd suggest you come out on a race day and watch. Ajax Downs also hosts several very significant community events on a regular basis. Our Canada Day celebrations, the Durham Caribbean Festival, many events that bring our community together. For years, the slots at Ajax Downs have also provided significant revenue for the town, and of course, quarter horse racing is responsible for just under 2,000 jobs here in Durham region. In short, Ajax Downs is a vital part of our region and a very critical part of our community. During the recent election, I promised to fight for Ajax Downs, to reverse the decision that was made by the previous Liberal government to remove the slots, which would have led to the closure of this facility and the end of quarter horse racing in our province. I promised to do everything in my power to keep the slots here and to make sure that quarter horse racing could remain here as well. Premier Doug Ford also, when he was in town, committed to finding a solution that would work for both Pickering and Ajax, and he further committed to returning the slots at racetrack program. So today, I'm very pleased to announce that we have an agreement in principle that will keep the slots here at Ajax Downs. This is great news as we will continue to get essential revenue for our town. It is great news because that means that the future of quarter horse racing is secure here in Durham and in Ontario. And it's also great news because the facility you can see beside me is an important center for our community. The agreement ensures a sustainable two-facility solution with no less than 500 slots here at Ajax Downs until 2026, and then 2 extensions for an additional 12 years. I do want to thank a couple of people before I turn it over to my colleagues here. Minister Vic Fedeli, who is the minister responsible for OLG. Vic not only took a great interest in this and made sure it was something that was done within the first 100 days of our mandate as a government, but Vic, as only he would, also came out here, no entourage, just came out, wandered around the grounds, saw what a great facility this was, wanted to make sure that he had a sense of the place, and obviously was supportive. As well, I want to thank Peter Bethenfalvey, who's my colleague, the president of the Treasury Board, but also more importantly the MPP from Pickering-Uxbridge, for his support, and of course Doug Ford, who made that promise, who said he was going to find a solution that would work for Ajax and Pickering, and that he was going to restore the slots at racetrack program, and he did both of those things. Stephen Rigby, the CEO of OLG, also very important to this, and I was pleased. We were involved in some discussions yesterday, Mr. Mayor, with the OLG. Pleased to see that relationship renewed with the OLG, who are also represented here today. And I'll speak about Bob and Justin in a moment, but obviously the support of the quarter horse racing community and the support of the Peakoves has been essential. So really appreciate all the work that everybody has done to get us to this day. And with that, I'm going to turn it over first to Mayor Parrish. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Rod. First of all, I would like to thank members of council who have come out to join me this morning on short notice. We have Regional Councillor Collier, Regional Councillor Jordan, Councillor Brown, Councillor Dyes, Councillor Crawford. I don't think I missed anybody. After 23 years, I should remember some names. You know, in 1969, Alexander Peekov and his young son Norm established a quarter horse track on their farm here on Highway 2 in what was then Pickering Township. In February 2006, I was here with others to officially open Ajax Downs as a 250 slot facility with a quarter horse track, state-of-the-art quarter horse track. Over the last almost 13 years, this facility has put well in excess of $80 million into this community. It's helped to fund recreation complexes, fire headquarters, operation headquarters. We just opened last week or a week or two ago Pat Bailey Square. It helped to fund that. It has done so much for the infrastructure and the capabilities of this community. And at the same time, it's created jobs both directly here in the slot facility and the spin-off jobs for that, and something like 1,700 jobs in Durham region and beyond related to the quarter horse racing industry. This is and has been a very important facility for our community in so many ways, and every member of council would echo that overwhelmingly. So when this facility was under threat, council took that very seriously and worked hard to see what we could do to change that direction that was set out by the previous government. So I want to express on behalf of council and the staff and the people of the town of Ajax our sincere gratitude to everyone who's been a part of putting this together, to the Pico family, to OLG, to the quarter horse racing industry and Bob Broadstock for his leadership there. And most especially, you know, politicians make promises and sometimes they don't keep them, and we criticize them for that properly. But when they keep their promises, you've got to say, well done and thank you. And a promise was made by now Premier Ford and by Rod Phillips, our MPP, and now the Minister of the Environment, to turn around that decision and to keep this very successful and prosperous operation going. And I want to thank the Premier, and I want to thank Minister Fedeli, and I most strongly want to thank Rod Phillips, our MPP, who went to work on this file during the election, immediately after the election. This was a high priority for him as our MPP to deliver this, and he has. And Rod, Minister, speaking on behalf of myself and all of my colleagues at the town, thank you so much for your hard work and for making this possible today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to introduce Bob Broadstock now. I have to give credit where credit is due. The idea of a two facility solution came from two places. One was knocking on doors where people would persistently tell me, because the announcement had been that the facility would be moving, why can't we have two? But the people who really took action in terms of getting the idea together were the quarter horsemen, led by Bob, who came to this idea, to their credit, went to the government first and didn't find a ready answer there, but then were important in terms of helping me understand it so that I could advocate for it. So, Bob?
Thank you very much, Minister. What a glorious day to be here standing in front of all of you announcing that quarter horse racing is going to continue to exist in the town of Ajax. I can tell you 6 years ago when the government canceled the Slots at Racetracks program, we were put on notice that racing was going to cease to exist. And in April, our worst fears were realized when the Liberal government announced the closure of Ajax Downs. Approaching then Rod Phillips and explaining our situation and our solution, he met it with open arms. We met with now Premier Ford, and he met it with open arms. And nobody could understand why the Liberal government would have moved the way they did. So I'm not a politician, but I will give thanks to all those involved, but most importantly, to the openness that Minister Phillips has provided our industry, and to the Peacock family for continuing to offer a world-class facility for our little industry of quarter horse racing. I can tell you that the 300 families that live and work here in the region of Durham will sleep a lot better tonight and throughout this year and for many years to come. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. As has been mentioned, next year is going to be the 50th anniversary of quarter horse racing at this facility. And of course, it's inconceivable as you stand here to think that that wouldn't have happened as a result of what we've been talking about. But of course, none of that would have happened without the commitment of the Pico family. I can tell you that I've had the opportunity to know 3 generations of Picos. They're all pretty smart folks. They're all pretty dedicated folks, and they're all very passionate about Ajax and very passionate about quarter horse racing. I've had the opportunity over the last year to get to know Justin, the next generation of Picos, and I can say to you that we would not be having this event today and this conversation today without the support of his family and without the hard work that Justin's put into it. Justin?
Thank you. Get myself prepared here. Good morning. First of all, thank you, Rod, and Steve, Mayor Parrish, Bobby, for being here today, and all of you as well. I'm still pulling out of my turkey coma and the fog of the last few months, but I'm coming to terms with the fact that today is a really exciting day. Just over 12 months ago, and all the way up to June 7th, we were told repeatedly and publicly by the Liberal government that no future could exist for Ajax Downs. This amazing facility, a cornerstone of our community, was to close. Quarter horse racing in Ontario was soon to be a thing of the past. Then Rod came onto the scene. Rod's been around this place before, even long before hitting the campaign trail. So it's no surprise that he understood its potential as a job creator, a development catalyst, and most importantly, its value as a community hub, when he committed to finding a way to reverse the effects of the Liberal government's misguided decision. He committed to finding a 2-site solution, so to speak. It didn't take long for Premier Ford to see the same opportunity, and so he committed to it too. There will be 2 casinos in Durham region. We've completed the first step of negotiations with OLG to protect quarter horse racing and Ajax Entertainment anchor. We're happy with the progress so far. There's still a lot of work for us to be done in a very short period of time. Our goal is to complete a deal that protects the future of quarter horse racing, and we're hopeful OLG and the government remain committed to seeing a workable deal done. Rod, both Ajax and the quarter horse industry owe you a great deal of thanks for your commitment to the long-term success of racing and this important community space. We're looking forward to working with you over the next short while to get over the finish line. Thank you all very much for coming out and sharing in the great news.
Thank you. So we're going to ask the current members of council to come up to do a quick picture, but first we'll take any questions that any of the media have, and then we'll let you guys get off. So questions? Yes. Yes, so the current facility has 800 slots. Of course, the announcement was that it would have no slots. The slots will remain while the Durham facility is built, and it won't go below 500 slots in the future.
So the expansion plans at Ajax has approvals for 2,500 slots and gaming positions.
That's correct. Yeah.
So 500 until
2026, and then there's 2 extensions for a total of 12 years after.
How big would that extension be?
just extensions in time. Yeah. Any other questions?
How do you make the two facility solution make sense? How are you assured that this place is not going to cannibalize or have this?
Yeah. So what Bob and the Quarter Horse folks brought to me, and what I assessed, was people sometimes like to have different entertainment choices. And so why couldn't there be two facilities operating and run by the same operator? Because OLG has outsourced the operation to a consortium led by Great Canadian Gaming. But give people a choice. So the types of people who might want to come to this facility will be different than people who might want to go to a larger, different facility. So it's not an uncommon model in other places. That was the suggestion that Bob made, that we spoke to the mayor about, and that OLG then had to assess. And of course, their final view is to make sure that it's commercially viable. They wouldn't be doing this if they didn't think it could work, because that's their job. And they reviewed it after the election when it was presented and decided it makes sense. I'm confident it'll make sense too. Sometimes people want different entertainment options, and there's different types of clients and customers for those. So I think this will be quite a successful facility going forward.
And this is not reintroduction of the slots at the racetracks program yet, but you are still planning to pursue that?
Yeah, so the Premier, when he was a candidate, had said that we would. There's been announcements recently about Kawartha, for example. So those are ongoing as we speak. But one of the commitments of our party, because it's commitments to horse racing, was to reintroduce that in the places that made sense. Obviously, for a bunch of reasons, because of the commercial viability here, because of the great success of this facility, it made sense in Ajax.
I have a question for Mayor Parrish as well.
Sure.
Mayor Parrish, congratulations. When you took this battle on, you used all your political capital.
Good thing I don't need it anymore.
I was going to say that this is quite a victory in politics. There's not many for you to retire from being mayor. I wanted to comment on the beginning of knowing that this was really an uphill battle. I don't think people really understand 11th hour to obviously being able to step away with this one.
Well, I've been mayor 23 years, and I believe that it's a very strong record that I've had. And you always have to leave with business that's not quite finished. But on the slots at Ajax Downs file, after so many successful years, leaving office when it was shutting down, and me bragging quite rightly that the municipality is in very good financial shape, was kind of like, or could be construed as, how do they say it, the rat leaving the ship. And so I very much, as one of my accomplishments during my term, it was very important to me that I have the opportunity to put this back on track and leave to the new mayor and the new council the revenue stream, the commercial viability, everything that this facility has given to the community, and of course giving it, perpetuating it for the community. So yes, it was a very high priority for me. I really wanted to have this file completed in a positive way before I left office, and I'm very grateful to Rod to making that happen, because my efforts were part of a package, but without Rod's efforts, without Bob's efforts, without Justin's efforts, without OLG effort, without council's efforts, this wouldn't have happened. And I'm very grateful, as you suggested in your question, that it did, and that I get to leave on such a good note.
It's a and I won't, because OLG would have been responsible for those details. But the idea, the proposal that came first was for 2 facilities, one of which is Durham Live. There's obviously still work to do there in terms of some of the siting of it and the traffic issues there. But I think it's a good signal about the communities working together. It's a great signal, as I said. The mayor last night talking to OLG about a renewed relationship there. And I did mention, my colleague Peter Beffenfalvy has also been enormously helpful as the new MPP there. There's just, I think, every reason to say that this can work quite well with the 2 facilities, and I'm looking forward to seeing that working. And I'm most importantly looking forward to seeing this important community hub, this resource that has provided millions for the community, and this Center for Quarter Horse Racing be here for generations to come. So thank you very much. I'm going to ask if the current members of council could come up. We do want to do a picture, if we could, with them for all the hard work that they did. And we'll do that